let's talk about templates a little bit. So templates are kind of a dicey issue for me personally, just because I change my process pretty frequently, so I don't actually use templates. Templates can be useful if you have a pretty regular routine of recording. Say you always want to lay down one track for vocals and you want to have one playback track. That's great. You can set up that. You can actually go into Reaper here, add 2 tracks, and one of them is set to record, channel 1, mono, there we go. So I set this to channel 1, and then I set up a second track for maybe a playback track. And then I could take this scene and I go save as, and there is a section here that says project templates, and I go save as template. And there's a directory by default where you can actually save. I have one in here already that I actually do use sometimes, but by default, I don't really like to do that because you kind of end up doing the same thing twice anyway. So like, all right, let's go ahead and save this and say, this is Reaper, let's see, vocal recording. All right. So now this is called Reaper Vocal Recording. You'll notice it still says unsaved up here. That means that it saved a template, but not the actual project file. So it's going to save the structure of what you created, but it won't save the project itself. So I can do whatever I want in here and then save that out as a project. So say I wanted to start from scratch. I'm going to hit Control N, it's Command N on a Mac, and a brand new fresh scene. And I'm going to go, okay, I want to load that vocal template. So I'm going to go in here and say, all right, project templates. And then there it is right there, vocal recording. So that's pretty cool. I could load that up pretty fast. But honestly, I don't really use it that much, and it doesn't take that long to set up in the first place. I'll show you the other template I had set up. It's pretty simple. Just going to delete these. Go ahead and open up the other complete control template I had here. So here I am. This is actually something that I set up a while ago. I actually don't use this, but initially I thought it would be really helpful to have as, my starting jump off point, since Machine is something that I use pretty frequently and Complete Control is something I use very frequently. So I thought it would be a great idea to have this actually built into Reaper as the startup template. You actually can define that in the preferences and say, this is the template I want every new project to start up with. However, I ended up, so often doing something completely different than this. And so I would just go ahead and delete those tracks right out of there. And I just got so frustrated having to do that all the time that I just stopped using the template. So it can be useful to use a template. I'm not a huge proponent of them. It may be useful for you in your workflow to use it for that. Like I said, setting up a track for recording vocals, that might be helpful. Depends what you're doing with it. It's there if you need it. How's that? I find it more exciting to build the scene from scratch. So I'm gonna build that same scene. I can just go, okay, I want this in here, Alt F, Complete Control, Enter. All right, that track is there. I'm gonna make a new track. I'm gonna call it Machine. I'm going to go into here and input reroute 1 and 2. That's from an external input. It actually, autofills this icon, and I'm done. That was the whole thing. That's exactly what my template was. So what did that take? Like 24 seconds or something like that? It's really easy. So it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to use templates unless you have like a really specific thing that you do extremely often. There's some beauty to the process of just kind of building your scene from scratch. Just, okay, this is coming from here, this is coming from here, this is coming from here, and it's kind of like, it's a rush to kind of like make that project. So I don't really use templates for that reason. So I like the process. You don't have to use templates if you don't want to. You can if you do. It's there if you need it.